Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'll be breaking down our first matchup for UFC Fight Night Royval versus Cop, or go about it however you want to describe it, like UFC Fight Night 265. But either way, this is the last card of 2025, taking place in the greatest venue of all, the Apex. Yeah, it kind of sucks we're ending the year off in an Apex card, and honestly, not a very good one. But, it is what it is. But it is the last card of the ESPN era. Next month, and slash next year, we'll be moving on to Paramount Plus, which is going to be super exciting. I cannot wait for those cards. But in all fairness to this card, there are some great matchups. I love the main event, Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. Third time's the charm with that matchup, and hopefully we finally get the fight. It's going to be high octane action. There's some great fights on the main card, specifically Giga Chikatsuke versus Kevin Vachejos, Cesar Almeida versus Cesar Olazacek, Morgan Charrier versus Marquisio Acosta. That's going to be a banger, and a few others. There's some great women's fights. Overall, the card is solid after the fourth fight on this card. But without further ado, let's get down to the fights. First up, we have Tereza Bledá taking on Jamey-Lyn Horth. So, this is kind of an interesting one for me. As you have two fighters in the women's flyweight division who are pretty early in their UFC journey, very different approaches to how they do this, where you got Bledá, who is only 24, 7-1 as a pro, but has not fought since in 2.5 years. She hasn't fought since 2023. My understanding, she suffered from a staph infection multiple times, but is currently 1-1 in the UFC. Got knocked out by viciously by Natalia Silva in that spinning back kick, which, unfortunate, but Natalia Silva is literally the number one contender, so that loss has aged gracefully. And then most recently, in her last fight, she beat Gabriela Fernandez, which has also aged very well, as Fernandez is a top 15 fighter. Meanwhile, Horth, since, it's kind of funny, since, since Tereza's last fight, Horth has fought 5 times. Beat Haley Cronin, lost to Veronica Hardy. He beat Ivana Petrovic, lost to Miranda Maverick, and then most recently beat Vanessa Demopoulos. So it'll be very interesting how this works. Plus, Horth is literally 11 years older, even though they roughly have the same record, right? 7-1 for Bledá and 8-2 for Horth. But without further ado, let's break down their styles. Starting with Bledá. Bledá is a massive flyweight, tall, long, and physically imposing for the division, standing at 5'9". She's big for this weight class. That's bigger than Manon Fior. And at just 24, she has the kind of frame and athletic upside that catches your attention right away. In almost every fight, she is going to be the bigger athlete. It could be interesting, too, because that's one of Horth's biggest advantages. She's oftentimes the bigger fighter. I'd say Bledá. Keep forgetting her name for some reason. Bledá is a grappler through and through. Has relentless takedowns, chain wrestling, and good top control. She doesn't necessarily have explosive entry-level wrestling, but what she does have is damn good persistence. She will shoot once, twice, 3 times. It doesn't matter. She will force opponents to defend until they make a mistake. On the mat, she's pretty heavy. She keeps good chest-to-chest pressure and uses her long limbs into grapevine and flatten her opponents out. And she's pretty patient. She's not a frantic ground-and-pound fighter, but she improves positions slowly and tries to wear opponents down. On the feet, she's still pretty green. Bledá tends to strike long with a lot of kicks and a lot of straight shots, but her defense is still fairly raw. Her biggest issue is that her striking mainly exists to bridge. It's a means to an end to get her grappling. And when opponents can force her to stay in the striking exchange, she becomes very hittable and predictable. That's how Silva caught her. I'd say her pace and cardio pretty good. She sets a pretty high pace with the constant grappling attempts, but that pace does fade if she can't secure a takedown. And her style demands energy. And if she focuses to wrestling inefficiently, she will slow down. So basically, you have a big, strong physical grappler, still young, still only 24, or so she has a lot of room to improve. Pretty good pressure, raw striking, and the cardio could fail her if she doesn't get her takedowns in. Meanwhile, for Horth, she brings a much better level of maturity and patience, probably due to her being a little older, or hell, being over a decade older. And she feels more seasoned. She doesn't have that many fights, but it feels like she's a tough out, Not necessarily like a world beater, but like, you beat Jamey-Lyn Horth, that means something, I suppose. And she's also durable. She doesn't break under pressure, and she's pretty good. Horth is mostly a striker, a forward-moving striker at that. Good long combinations, solid straight punches, pretty good jab, and can counter all right. Not super great, but certainly not bad. She's not an elite power puncher. She is pretty consistent. She touches fighters a lot. She's defensively aware, and she doesn't give opponents easy entries to her hips. I saw Miranda Maverick really struggle to take her down last December. And she's got pretty strong takedown defense, especially against the single attempts, and she forces opponents to work hard to get her down. And that's huge against someone like Bledá. And if she does get taken down, she's pretty good at staying safe. She works mostly off the fence to use her ability to get up. I'd say her biggest strength is her cardio. Horth can fight 15 minutes hard without fading, and that matters here because if I think Bledá slows down, Horth striking and pressure could snowball things pretty quickly. So overall, you kind of have a composed, well-rounded striker, pretty good takedown defense, durable and consistent, and pretty good with the cardio. Now, ultimately, this matchup really just comes down to, can Bledá get enough takedowns, or can Horth win off the feet? I feel like Bledá, she'll likely start fast, close distance, and shoot early, trying to drag Horth into the grappling exchanges. With her size advantage, she may very well get Horth down a few times in the fight and then keep her down for majority of the minutes of the 15-minute fight. But the longer this fight stays up, the more it does shift in Horth's favor. Horth striking is cleaner. I think her cardio is better, and she's more comfortable at range. And if she forces Bledá to shoot repeatedly from just too far away from, I don't know, like half a football field length, let's go with that, those takedown attempts are going to get slower, desperate, and more sloppy. Excuse me. And in the mid-fight transitions, like, from round 1 to 2, Horth's experience and balance makes the difference, and I think she can stuff more takedowns as the fight goes on. In a sense, this battle really just hinges on the clinch, how good is Bledá's fence wrestling, the scrambles when Bledá does get stuff, and moments where Horth's pressure can force Bledá to strike instead of grapple. And for my official prediction, I gotta go with Jamey-Lyn Horth. I know she's the underdog at plus 140 to the minus 190 Bledá, and I'm sure this could come back to bite me in the ass for sure. And I do think, Bledá has big upside and a strong ground game and physical tools, but she's still 24. She still has a lot of room to improve. Plus, I don't like an over 2-year layoff, or literally 2.5-year layoff. And I think Horth is just more consistent, much better striker. Better experience. She's fought now, Bledá's fought absolutely elite Gabrielle Fernandez and, Natalia Silva. But again, those were years ago. Meanwhile, Horth has been fighting pretty good opposition. Now, granted, Vanessa Demopoulos was a strawweight who took it on short notice of a weight class. Not really ideal. Miranda Maverick, though, consistent top 15 fighter. Ivana Petrovic, is all right. Veronica Hardy, kind of a stalwart, pretty well known in this division. And then Haley Cronin, all right. But still, I think Horth is just much more consistent. She's fighting much more consistently. I think it's going to be harder for her to control. She's almost the size of Bledá. So I just don't think Bledá can just dominate her on the ground easily. And I think Horth's volume, excuse me, pressure and cage control win here. So I'm going to pick Jamey-Lyn Horth, and I'm going to pick her via decision. Not a confident pick whatsoever, but I think she can get it. Well, that being said, that's been my breakdown of this fight. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know let me know who you think is going to win in the comment section below. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. Take care. Oh, sorry. Stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see you all next time.